Hello, welcome to a new session of Team Untapped Book Club. Yay! We are at chapter
Hello.
11, guys. We are the double ones. Yay!
Blur ones.
We are officially in the double digits today. Woo! So those of you guys who are watching us on the stream, welcome to our Twitch stream for Team Untapped Book Club. Yay! Happens every Wednesday for the foreseeable future. At
Alright.
10:30. We started a little bit late today because of some technical issues, but hopefully, we have a very peaceful and calming morning session. Yay! So let's test out this thing. Whee! I have a soundboard now, but the problem is I cannot hear my own sound from the soundboard.
Probably you need to plug in your headset or something, I guess.
I'm not sure. How do I check check this
Soundboard?
the audio feedback? What was that sound? What was that sound?
Is that ooh?
Okay. Like I need to have some feedback, guys. So those of you guys who just joined us in the chat, welcome. Hi Daya. Yeah, we got clap now. Yay. I have this minions. I don't know what this means.
Basically he did that.
What's the sound? What's the sound? Someone tell me.
Minion laughed. That
Oh, okay. That's cute. I have this samba. What's samba?
those TikTok songs.
Okay, I don't know.
Basically it's a samba dance.
Oh, the samba dance. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. So since Hidayah just joined us, then let's debut her. What is that sound?
Why is there like a like a EDM song suddenly came in?
Oh, yeah, EDM song. Okay, this one.
It's basically cheering.
Okay. So at least I know the clap, I know the cheer. Okay, very good. Yay, we got more interesting stuff as we go along our Team Untapped Book Club. So, without further ado, let's begin. Today's chapter is chapter 11. Ray has some family issues, so she has to deal with them first. So she's not joining us today, but I hope we still are able to have a good time with everyone who is still around, right? So let's begin. Today we'll be talking about Grit by Angela Duckworth. Okay, and before we begin the chapter, some simple rules and reminders before we start. Alright. Rule number 1. We always welcome polite questions from the audience, okay? Especially when they're related to the book. Alright? Because your feedback may or may not inspire everybody else to have new thoughts about the book. So your feedback is always important. Okay? Yeah. And because of that, we would like to bring you to number 2, which is discussions are going to most likely be very deep and could come from any angle. So be open and receive ideas from everyone, okay? Yeah, this applies to me too. So if you guys think that I am not being open right now, just do this. I was just looking for an excuse to play with it. Okay, and thirdly, alright, examples may be from personal experiences. So even if you disagree with them, don't attack them directly, okay? Just state your point and we'll see what we can learn from there, alright? Okay, so with that being out of the way, we are now in chapter 11. We actually made it for the double ones. Okay. Alright, so we are now talking about the playing fields of grit. Alright. So the playing fields of grit is basically an environmental factor, okay, for bringing children up or training children to have grit as they were growing up. Alright. So the last week we were talking about growing up with grit, right? parenting with grit. Okay, and one of the things that we mentioned last week was that parenting with grit is not just the parents of the children, but also the adults and the people around the children. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, as you go out there and you walk around children, okay, the things that you do, the things that you show, the things that you say, all point towards children, okay, and may affect the way they view or perceive grit. So be very careful. All right, what you choose not to do may affect their grit. What you choose to do may affect their grit. Okay, so let's jump into chapter 11. Tika, are you still there with me? I can't hear you.
Hello?
Ah,
You
okay.
guys hear me?
Yay. Otherwise, it'd be very boring. It'd be just me.
But you got the soundbar. Woo!
Oh no, it's just me. It can't be just me and the soundbar. That'll be boring. Come on. Damn. Just me and the
I see.
soundbar? What? No, no, no. Okay. So let's start with the first part of the chapter. The first part of the chapter is very interesting. I find this particular point that she mentions very interesting. Angela Duckworth was asking if people who join extracurricular activities will become grittier, right? And most of the extracurricular activities they join, according to her, are extracurricular activities that are chosen by the kids, right? Or the parents, depending. Oh, Hidayah says she likes the background sound. Okay, Hidayah, you can be the next background sound, you know, I don't mind.
What's the background sound?
Yeah, the soundboard.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So joining in extracurricular activities at random would allow Angela Duckworth to understand whether the children actually are able to learn grit, because then it is not something that they chose, it is something that was chosen for them. I brought up this point because in Malaysia, I think joining extracurricular activities sometimes happen randomly. Oh my god, what happened to my English? Randomly.
Random.
So sometimes it happens randomly. So what do you think happens when it happens randomly? Did you, Tika, join a extracurricular activity at random when you were younger?
At the start, it wasn't random. It was something that my parents chose for me. It was the first extracurricular activities was the martial art class, the taekwondo class. Then when in primary school, usually the activities are chosen by my mom. She was a teacher at my school. So I actually joined a lot. So I have like one is the taekwondo class, and then I did participate in choir, and I did dabble in some of the traditional dance. So there's a lot.
Wow, you were very active when you were younger.
I don't know. My mom thought, because it's a school environment and the school provide this activity, so she thought, I should join it. It's something that makes me occupied. So yeah.
Right. Your mom wanted you to occupy your time.
Yeah. Because if not,
Ah,
I will be spending like watching TVs at home. So she doesn't want that happen. It's because there's like a limit. I mean, I like to read books, but there's like a limited collection of books at home, and the rest are like was the adult reading. So my mom like forbid me to read that. So I only have like few collections. So yeah, it's either that or the TV. So yeah, and books were
ah,
expensive back then. So my mom couldn't like growing up we couldn't afford a lot of books, right? So there's a lot of things that I couldn't go. Something like that.
I see. I get it. I really get it because uh, I had the total opposite problem. Like when I was
Yeah.
growing up, right? If I were to pick up a extracurricular activity, my mom would have to send me to school. So, my mom didn't want to send me to school, so there was like no extracurricular activities for you. Here's a book. Take a book and read the book.
My going to school is not a problem because I usually stay in my grandparents' house, which is like what 5 meters away from my school, so I usually walk. So it doesn't make any difference if like I'm far or near, because my mom will be like, "Hey, it's Monday, go to school." I'm like, okay. Hey, it's Saturday morning, go to school. Okay.
So going to school was never a problem for you, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, I think back when I first started joining extracurriculars, I actually chose my extracurriculars only in secondary school. I think in
Ah,
primary school, yeah, back in primary school, my extracurricular activities were given to me. Hey, morning, Eva.
hello,
Yay.
Eva.
I see. Eva,
What
Eva,
did you choose?
Eva. Uh, what's this? Eva, this is for you. Ah, you know it's so weird. Like every time I press the soundboard, I don't hear anything. Suddenly, it's like everything went quiet, and I was like, what?
It's like, like a random laughter coming through, like.
Yeah, it's so funny because it's like suddenly everyone goes quiet, and then it goes like, see, it's like quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
think you should work on how to get so you can hear it too.
yeah, it's so weird. Otherwise, it's like, what happened? I don't know. Nothing happened. Like, you know.
Right.
So the only way I know that the sound is still playing is because I have an audio mixer in front of me, and I can see my audio mixer running. And
Ah, cool,
I'm
cool,
like,
cool,
oh,
cool.
okay, there is a sound wave. So, okay, but when I joined extracurricular activities in school,
Mm,
at random,
mm,
I I don't really feel the sense of grittiness that Angela Duckworth mentions. I don't know about you, but I don't feel that sense of grittiness. Like I joined
and
taekwondo when I was in primary school, right?
okay.
And I took the exam up to yellow belt. And then when I was supposed to take my exam for my green belt, I was like,
Huh?
you know what? I couldn't be bothered about this. I couldn't be bothered about this rubbish. So yeah, I kind of like let it go. Like I kind of like left it alone.
Mm.
But
Was
when
it
I was
because like
in,
you
yeah,
what, sorry, was it because you join it because you join because with your friends, or because you're curious of what this class is about?
I didn't really have much friends when I was in school. So it was
Ah.
more because of my mom. My mom was like, "Oh, I'm worried my son will get beat up, so yeah, you go for taekwondo, you." So that's how
Mm,
it started.
understand.
But then when I compare it to when I joined the Red Cross Society
Mm,
in secondary school, and that was very like I was very determined back then, and I actually climbed up and became a master trainer for first aid.
wow, master
So
trainer.
yeah, it was a role that nobody else wanted to do. Because
It's your heart
when
thing then.
sorry.
It's your heart thing then.
Yeah, it was because when you're a master trainer, then you have to go take exams, and then you have to make sure that your first aid skills are top notch, and if anything happens, everybody be looking at you. It's a lot of responsibility, so nobody really wanted to take it. Uh,
Ah.
but I took it because I already determined that I wanted to be a first aider. So yeah, that's why that's why I took it up, and I think I was more gritty back then. But at the same time, when I look back at my past, right, when I joined the taekwondo, even though I'm not very gritty, like I wasn't like, it wasn't like when I was in the Red Cross Society, but when I was in taekwondo, the exams, the one belt, right, kind of inspired me to go to the next level all the time.
The taekwondo or the Red Cross again?
The taekwondo one. The Red Cross Society also has it, okay, because the Red Cross has badges. We have badges, so yeah, there were badges to apply for, and that was fun. Alright, but after a while, I didn't bother with the badges anymore. It was just me and my training. So yeah, I, 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 I can see the difference between a sport that you are chosen for and a sport that you purposely participate in. Like for example, Scrabble, right? I also joined Scrabble when I was in secondary, and I already liked Scrabble as a kid because my dad used to play it with me, and I went all the way to the Malaysian level. Like I will be playing with adults from overseas and stuff. So yeah, I even challenged chess masters, grand chess masters in chess and Scrabble like every other week because we had chess masters in school, right? So yeah, we challenged them for games and stuff. Just because, you know, so I can see that if you chose the extracurricular activity, then you will feel more inclined to actually push for it, I think. But at the same time, I'm coaching this basketball team right now, right? And I'm looking at this bunch of kids. I find it very interesting. This bunch of kids, you see the book says that evidence on extracurricular activities is incomplete. I cannot point to a single study in which kids have been randomly assigned to play a sport, right? But in this school that I'm coaching, all the kids are randomly assigned to a sport or an activity. All of them. Alright? So whether you like it or not, if you were chosen for the swimming club, you're part of the swimming club. If you're chosen for basketball club, you're part of the basketball club. And you don't get to switch. You're stuck with it for life. For as long as your school life is. Which is ridiculous. I've got some really good basketball players who are stuck in the swimming team. And they can't come out to play because they are part of the swimming club.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Yeah. And I've got some really good like basketball, the girls team. The basketball players are all in netball. Like, why?
It's totally different sport.
Yeah, so and they cannot come over to play basketball. The teachers don't allow it. I'm like, why?
What kind of rules is that actually? Are they like like making sure that every sports has participants? That's why they force it to.
I think so. I kind of want to throw away some of my basketball kids to like other sport and see how they work. Like I want to throw them to the swimming team and see how the swimming coach is gonna handle all of these kids. Like
Or maybe the soccer.
Yeah, like yesterday, what happened was the kids were playing, and then we needed to stop them so that we can start the drills. And then I was like telling them to stop, and then they still kept throwing balls in the air, and the ball hit me on the head, and then they were like scared. And I was like, okay, never mind, that's enough from you guys, okay? And then the ball hit my other assistant coach on the head. And then I was very angry already. Then I just blew up on them. And then they got scared and ran away. Right? I'm like, And you guys are not listening. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? I
Slam the
don't
ball
know.
towards them.
We'll see what the teachers have to say later, man. Right? So yeah. But these kids, right?
Hmm?
Some of them eventually build the interest in basketball, and those who eventually build their interest in basketball, right, uh, end up actually being quite good at it. You know, they won third place in the MSSS, the state
Mm.
level competition.
Yep.
So I think that even if you have no reason to sign up your kid for some extracurricular activities, you should,
Mm.
because I think if let's say you have a bunch of kids who didn't really like basketball, and then they started playing basketball, and then you feel it's fun, they themselves will eventually pick it up.
Oh.
That's what I learned. And when they themselves pick it up, then you don't need to worry, because they're doing it themselves.
I
And they're training
think that's
themselves
the
for
same
great.
case. I think that's the same. Sorry, potong line
No, no,
sorry.
go on, go on.
I think that's the same case with me because at first I don't actually like taekwondo because I was skinny back then. Like stick thing skinny, and the instructor keep on like jabbing at me like, hey, is this your hand or is this like the tree branch or something, right? So and I got annoyed because I was like the youngest in the class because the class just started opening when I entered school. It was like what? No, when I was in standard three, so I was the youngest one, and the rest are like my seniors. So, so I do not like that, But like after a while, right, and then my cousin keep on like, hey, you're taking taekwondo class. I'm taking silat. One day we should fight because we are different martial arts. Wow, 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 wow. And I wanted to like, you know, be in the you sort of like wanted to join your cousin, right? But all your cousins are male, right? So you end up like, okay. Then I started like, taking serious on my taekwondo class. And then I end up until like a blue belt. Then I had to stop because I have to focus on my studies.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of happens to all of us.
Yeah. And then my mom was like, it's either that or your study. So I had to like let go one of it.
It's sad, but okay. I think in the end you turned out quite well, right? So it's not too bad. So but that is true. So the bottom line of the research said this, right? School is hard, but for many kids it's not intrinsically interesting. Texting your
Yeah.
friends is interesting, but it's not hard. But ballet can be both. Now this brought me to the next question, right? The next point that I find very interesting. This middle ground of being challenging and motivating, like interesting and challenging. This middle ground thing is very very interesting, because I don't think it happens to just kids. I think it happens to everyone, like even adults. What do I mean?
Mm.
Um, let's say, for example, okay, as an adult, all right, as we grow up, okay,
Mm.
um, there are things that we need to do, right? Like work. Work is challenging, but not necessarily interesting, right? Unless you love your job or something. But at the same time, when you go to work, right, in the office, then you get to meet people and you chit chat with people at the water cooler, and that becomes interesting, but not very challenging, right? So I have been curious for a long time as to how my mom survived working as a customer service for a big company, right? When the work was so tough, all right. Only now that she has retired, then I noticed that, oh, okay, the reason why she can survive that work is because the water cooler sessions with her friends were interesting.
Yeah, true. Mine is the lunch session.
The lunch session, please enlighten us, enlighten us.
This was shared by my lecturer last time, when you go to admin places, right? She always say this during lunch. Please do not disturb them. I didn't understand that until I start working. Because lunchtime is where you take your break. It's where you sort of like stop thinking about work. It's where you relax. It's like in preschool they have the nap time, right? So lunch is kind of like a nap time for me. So you talk to people, you talk to your friend, you talk to your colleague. And then sometimes, like, if let's say you have this bugging issue, right, you can just talk about it. Then your friend will be like, oh, it's like this. So, yeah, having that right session is really really helpful. That's why when I'm starting working from home, right, there's a lot of things that I need to get used to. There's no water cooler session, there's no lunch session, there's only lunch session with me alone. So it's kind of get like, you have to like pandai pandai like sort yourself, that's why I started running, because the thing that I can do by myself without asking people to help, something like that.
And that is very true, I think.
Mm.
So when you're at home alone, then you makan diri.
Yeah. You talk to the wall a lot.
Yeah, you talk to the wall a lot. Hello wall, you're my friend.
And then the wall sing back. "Ah."
And then the wall tell you this.
The why is shooting me.
But I think it's interesting when I think this doesn't only apply to kids, because, like, for example, when we are doing workouts, right? Yesterday was a very interesting example, right? I
Mm.
can honestly say this: if yesterday you guys weren't around, I probably wouldn't go all the way and carry 27 kilos and run.
Knowing me, I would just like, what? I would just end up running because it's easier.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna run. You know,
Yeah.
I'll run 4 km. It's fine. Just don't ask me to carry
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
that
yesterday
was
was
a
fun actually.
yeah, that was an interesting experience where we actually get to see something that's both motivating and challenging, because you get to have friends to encourage you, friends to help you out along the way, and then you yourself try to run your own what's the word for it, your own pace, your own
Oh yeah.
your own movement, right? and
Yeah.
and that makes it kind of what's the word for it, that makes it kind of uh
Worth it?
more interesting, I suppose that's the word you're looking for,
Yeah.
so
True.
that
Because
yeah.
during doing fitness, right? I think you have to have like some motivation, of course. Like, you need to have something that interesting to keep you going,
Mm.
and at the same time, you need to have a little bit of challenge. Because if it's all the same thing, you'll be like questioning, why am I doing this again?
Yeah, I think it's really this that made me think about weight loss in general. Like, whenever people say they want to lose weight, the first thing they talk about is workouts, exercise. They don't talk about diet first. They always talk about exercise first. And I noticed that the reason why they talk about exercise first is because exercise is both interesting, right, and challenging at the same time. So if they
True.
talk about diet, then it's challenging but not necessarily interesting, right? Unless you get
Yeah.
people like Harold and me who are like foodie kawan, then we'll go like, okay, I want to lose weight, so I want to have like food that it tastes good, has a certain texture and requirements to meet, and then after that we can go. Yeah, but yeah.
You should write down your menus for the week, man. Hello?
Yeah, I think that would be a very interesting thing to look at, like Kenji's menus for the week.
Be
Recipes for
like,
disaster if you're not trying to lose weight.
be like, you're a foodie, but you still can be on diet too. Chey.
Yeah. It will be called the foodie diet.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that is what I see, which the book also talks about, right? You know, like she says, what about accomplishing something that takes years as opposed to months of work? If grit is about sticking with a goal for the long term, and extracurricular activities are a way of practicing grit, it stands to reason that they are more beneficial when we do them for more than a year. So I think maybe this Spartan challenge needs to go on for more than a year.
Let me think about it first. That only works if it's like super quiet.
I don't know. I can't hear what the sound was. So
It's basically a crowd croak. Something.
okay. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So
Mhm.
I get it now.
Hmm?
Oh, I think I know how I can do this already. Okay, I will try it tomorrow, like the next round
Uh,
or something.
okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll need another set of speakers. Then I can hear what's going on. Oh, okay. So where were we? Yeah. So I think uh moving on to discussing about having them for more than a year. What do you think about having these extracurricular activities for more than a year?
I can only base that on my taekwondo because I took it since I was like standard three and then I stopped until I was form three, right? It's really beneficial because I'm actually like wow, I can hear my own voice. I'm actually like very how to say this? A shy person, an introvert person, right? And when my mom sort of like throw me into that class where I do not know anyone. So it's sort of like, break your shell. You have to mingle with friends. You have to talk to your seniors. You have to talk to your trainers. And then your trainers will be like, sometimes mood up, she okay. Sometimes mood down, then everyone has to do pumping and stuff like that. you know. So so it's sort of like how to say it's sort of like build your character, build your grittiness and something like that and like you say, like taekwondo has like tests. You're not supposed to, I mean, like it's not like you study like books and everything. You have to practice what you learn. You have to practice your pattern. You have to practice until certain level. You can only do sparring until you hit, I think, was it green, I guess, green belt, something like that. Only you do sparring. If not, the below one you just do pattern. Pattern is kind of like boring. You basically do the same sequence all over again. Sort of like this is like mildly boring, but it's challenging because you need to hit like a certain move and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Then going for the exam is like it's not like going
Anxiety
for
inducing exams.
yeah, and because this is fun, when you're white belt, right? There's a lot of kids. But when you grow, I mean, go into like the higher level, right? You start seeing like very few kids left. Especially when I actually like to watch when the red belt taking exam because there's only like three. Most I see is five because changing belt from red to black is always something that I look forward because you're technically training to become a master, you know. And then there's a lot of things going on in between, and then you have to do this, and that's when you see like a lot of few black belt instructor on the side, checking on you.
All the eight done instructors there.
Yeah. So
That
whenever that happen, you have to do this.
that becomes very intimidating, right? Suddenly it's like, oh, all the instructors are there, like, oh.
Yeah. And then the how to say this, the viewer, right? At first they don't come for the lower level one, but when they knew there's a red belt examinees, right? Oh, you can see a lot. Suddenly, like a lot of people come just to watch. It's not like a private event, but it's suddenly like you can see like the whole dojo is like, oh, there's so many people here. Why? Oh, this kid is taking exam.
Satu kampung semua datang.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like quiet. Just have to be like very still. You know, it's like in a tennis game, you have to make no sound at all because it will affect the trainer.
Concentration.
It will affect the examiner, the one who's taking exam and everything.
Yeah, it will affect their concentration and some move they want to hear the sound of the gi flapping,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, very interesting, right?
Yeah.
I actually posted this very interesting question out as well. Will you stick on something for the long term, Tika?
Depending on the activities.
Depending on the activity, eh? So,
Yeah, because
uh,
sorry.
no, I was about to ask you.
Um,
So, what would the criteria be?
because if in school I don't like sport, I don't like fitness because I already took taekwondo, right? So I'm like, why do I want to do something that's gonna exert, gonna make me tired when I already have taekwondo to think about, you know?
Yep, yep.
And every time my friend be like, hey Tika, why don't you join this? No, I don't want that. I want to do this. And my Saturday is filled with like taekwondo class, and then after that I got tuition and stuff like that. So I do not have, the leisure to choose any sports. So that's why I do not like to do sports. I do not like to do this. But when you start working, right, I sort of miss that session. Is I don't actually do sports much. So I don't, and then every time my mom asks me, why don't you just join gym? And I'll be like asking her, why do I want to do this and stuff like that. But then when your weight, when how to say this, I stop going up, I start going sideways, then I started to realize maybe taking taekwondo back is not a bad idea.
I'm sorry.
No, if it's the laughter is like continuous, it's okay, right? It's like
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, okay.
yeah.
Then we'll do this one then.
Damn funny, man.
Which is
Yeah.
which is really true though. I totally agree with you about that one. Actually, here I
Yeah.
wanted to share a personal story. Um,
Mm,
there was a guy that I used to call my best friend, right?
mm,
And we were both in the Red Cross Society when we were in school.
mm.
But he changed at the end of school to go towards Scouts, and he's still a Scout now, right?
Ah.
And you can see from his life, he's got a tough life. His mum wasn't around and stuff like that when he was very young, so his dad had to bring up him and his brother, and then they came from a relatively poor family and stuff.
Mm,
Um, he would really be putting in a lot of grit
mm.
just to get to where he is right now, where he's able to get married, he's able to buy a house, he's able to buy a car, and he's now renovating his house and stuff. So I can see that, as he grew up in, because we were best friends, so there was a lot of things that we did together.
Mm.
I can see that as he grew up to be more gritty in the Red Cross Society, right? He
Mm.
kind of also found his interest, and he noticed that his interest was in Scouts, not Red Cross so much. So he went on into Scouts
Mm.
and went all the way, right? Now he's in jamborees and stuff, and at the same
Wow.
time he's also uh like performing quite well at his work, right? And I think he's living a pretty good life lah. So I don't know. I noticed that all the people who stick around me very, very closely end up becoming grittier. So those of you guys who want to become grittier, just stick around Kenji long enough.
Okay, will do.
I'm just joking, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next question. So this is a very, very interesting point that was made in the book. They did this super long research by Willingham, and then
Oh.
after he finished the research, right, he found out that there's this thing that looks a lot like the grit scale. And then she also worked together with the Bill Gates Foundation,
Oh yeah.
and then they came up with this grit. Wow, this is a tongue twister. Grit. What requires grit builds grit. Wow. If you have more grit on the grit, then you'll be more gritty in the grit life. I sound like a bad rapper right now. Oh, the other day someone asked me, Kenji, do you know what's a bad rapper? I was like, a bad rapper is probably someone that raps very slowly or something. And then the guy was like, no, a bad rapper is a rapper with a hole in it.
You cannot use that crook. I laugh at it.
No, it was supposed to be a bad joke, right? It's a dad joke.
Too bad, man.
So yeah.
I'm a kid with dad jokes now.
It
I
is so
speak dad
cool.
jokes.
So yeah. Anyway, dad jokes aside, this is something that I find very interesting. That the book talks about, right? That is, whatever that requires grit builds your grit, and whatever that doesn't require grit doesn't build your grit. It's like grit is this muscle where you actually need to use it to be able to gain it. So I don't know, what do you think of this?
I think that's true because this chapter talks a lot about activities, like extracurricular activities, and I realized that I do join the traditional dance. I actually do not like it, but because it requires grace and you have to be like graceful and stuff. I am not graceful enough. The traditional dance requires you to be graceful. The only dance that I excel a lot is the Javanese dance, the kuda kepang dance, because you basically just need to bobble your head and that's it.
Wobble your head, right?
Yeah, bobble your head and then you hold I'm not saying the wooden horse, but I do not know what's that thing called, but yeah. So your hand doesn't require to be like, like melentik. Your jari has to be like melentik or something like that. So I don't like, I don't see myself being gritty in that dance because something particular that I don't like it particularly. And yeah, and then but I excel in taekwondo is because it's sort of like when I do taekwondo, it makes me more gritty, and then it makes me fit in more with my cousins because my cousins are all male. Towards my age are all males. It's easier for me to fit in with them, and even like with Abawan also, he'd be like, you have to do it like this. You have to do it like this because he learned silat. I think was it taekwondo also. Cannot remember what Abawan takes that one. Yeah, that guy is like super talented. So I wanted to have something that I can match level with him. Yeah, because my grades are not as good as him, but at least I got something that I can talk to him about. Yeah.
That's true, right? If you I from this grit, right, what I noticed is, did you actually try out the grit?
Not really, because it basically requires you to take one activities, right? And then after that you check whether you have any achievement and stuff like that. So I was like basing on two activities. One is the choir, no, three: choir, dance, and the taekwondo. Choir I actually went into state level.
Wow.
Like yeah, because it's a group activities. So we all practice really hard on it. I towards one point I nearly lost my voice because I sang more than 8 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah, because during when it's nearing the competition, you have to stay in school and then like practice stuff like that. Um, and then the dance traditional is basically just a school performance. I don't see myself getting more points on that. Then the taekwondo is because I keep on like taking until like what blue belt. So that's like 2 points.
I don't know. I look at this very interestingly, it's like one of the biggest challenges of greed, in my opinion, is getting
Hmm?
married. And I noticed that, the longer people stay married, the harder it is for people to break that marriage. What I mean is, I have a couple of friends who were in very disastrous marriages, you know,
Right.
and they actually, there was one of them, okay, that
Hmm?
was very interesting. They actually pulled through the marriage. Like, uh, it was horrible. The marriage was tough. The guy uh, has habits that the girl doesn't like. The girl has habits that the guy doesn't like. They were both at each other's necks. But they wouldn't want to get a divorce. They wouldn't want to separate. They wouldn't want to end it. They were still sleeping together until like 10,
This
15
happened.
years in. They had two kids, all right? And the wife would still go out and flirt with guys. Like, I don't know what went on in the
Interesting.
bedroom, but that's definitely not the sign of a good marriage, right? Uh, and
Mm,
it's weird. It was weird, but they duck it out for 15 years, okay, and now they're actually happily married. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what switched. It was like one day they went for a honeymoon,
hmm?
and the wife was
The next
making
day is history.
no, the wife was making a lot of progress with some other guys, right?
Ah,
And then when they came back, the wife just stopped going out. Yeah, and he was happy again.
I think something happened during the honeymoon. We do not know.
So I don't know what happened, but I know one thing for sure: if that guy wasn't gritty enough, they wouldn't be happily married now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
So I really think that being gritty builds being gritty. I don't know whether my example is a good example. Maybe I should label this video as not for kids. I don't know.
I thought we have been labeling it since the beginning.
I don't know. But I think it's a really interesting process, right? Like, for example, uh when I first started running my sorry, I dropped my mouse.
Okay, cool.
So when I first started running my shop, I
Hmm?
told myself, I said, okay, after 3 years, I'm just gonna close the shop and try something else, right? But I
Mm.
ended up running the shop for 11 years because we
Mm.
all know that running a shop takes a lot of grit, right? It takes a lot of effort,
Yep.
takes a lot of dedication and patience. But as I was running it, I get more and more into it, and I get more gritty, and I get stuck in it. I guess that's also the reason why a lot of people who start with jobs that are crappy end up getting stuck in those jobs. Like, they start thinking that no lah, they don't want to move because they're already used to it. I'm not sure whether that is part of the gritty thing. But yeah, we must really be careful to make sure that doesn't happen to us, eh? So that brings us to the next point in the book, in this chapter. Okay.
Mm.
In the chapter itself, there was an example. Let's see.
It's transferable.
Yeah. The year after Warren Willingham published the Personal Qualities Project, Bill Fitzsimmons became the Dean of Admissions. And he was talking about the project, and then he said that he will admit a lot of students into Harvard, okay? but they also admit a lot of students into Harvard who have very good education, but they also bring in a lot of students who made a commitment to pursue something they love with a singular energy, discipline, and plain old hard work. Right? Because he says that in athletics, for example, if the person gets hurt or decides not to play or doesn't make the team, we tend to find that it's all that energy, drive, and commitment, all that grit was developed in athletics can almost always be transferred to something else. This is very, very interesting. That's why that's why I brought up this point, because I think this is very true, right? Because like I look at my own friend, the one who used to be a Red Cross member and then became a scout. You can really see that the grit that he has from being a Red Cross member or a scout transfers to his everyday life, whether it's him studying and getting a degree, or him getting a job, or him getting a girlfriend. It really transfers over into his daily life, and I think that is very, very powerful. That grit is really very, very powerful, because
I think so.
without that grit, I don't think my friend would be able to achieve the amount of success he has now. You know, and I like the fact that grit is transferable from one activity to another, because that means that as long as you're gritty in something, you can be gritty in other things too.
And this is the time you tekan the applause thingy, man.
Where's the applause?
Victory!
You might want to replay this session afterwards than to hear the sound.
What was the second sound that happened?
Victory! You know, like the game Victory.
Okay. I thought it was the ta 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 ta.
No, that's the Mario thingy, no?
No, that's Final Fantasy.
Okay.
It's called Victory
good then.
Fanfare. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, but grit being transferable from one activity to another is very important, I think, because it's very difficult for people to train grit.
True.
And it's ridiculous if you train grit in painting. Let's say like the case of Atika, like your case, right? If you only train grit in running and it's not transferable, that means your grit is stuck with running. Just the
I
thought
have a
of that sounds
better.
so sad already, you know?
I know.
It's like your singular motive in life is to run.
Getting away from football, you mean?
That'd be so sad, you know? That'd be really, really sad. So the fact that grit can transfer, I think is a really good thing.
I think so. I just based on my experience.
Go on.
Okay. In university, I did not learn how to become a programmer. I only learned like artificial intelligence. That's like one whole module there. I don't actually like learn how to code. I only learn like the basic one. But I end up being a programmer. Which is like totally like different, because if you see all my classmates, like all the graduates from my course, they all both in like end up like, become like a diplomatic officer, teacher and stuff. But very rare cases they end up like being a programmer, because it's like very minor module in my courses. But seeing like I end up being a programmer itself is like a grittiness that sort of like, from taekwondo, those extra activities, and then going to become a programmer, because being a programmer itself is also challenging. I think a lot of profession out there are also challenging, but for me, my case is I don't have a background. I don't have an IT background. I don't even learn on network or database or coding and everything. So when I went into that job, I actually took like a 6 month course just to make sure that I actually can do this work. So yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. No, you know, when you say it like this, right, then probably all the people that we want to hire for all these gritty jobs, right, should be single mothers with teenage kids.
But I don't have a teenage kid yet.
No, because single mothers with teenage kids are like the most grittiest people on the planet, right? So maybe we should choose all these single mothers with teenage kids and then send them off to space to try and build a new base in the moon or something like that. Yeah, I just found out that it is a real thing that there's somebody from a company in the States that actually sells land on the moon for like few US dollars or something.
Oh, is that the moon facility or something?
Like Luna real estate company or something like that. It's so weird, man. It's like you're buying a plot of land. It's not even an NFT. It's like you're actually buying a plot of land, few acres for like $5 US. I was like, who's giving you the authority to give it to people?
Be like, is it freehold or what?
So in the book, right? It actually is stated here. You've never read a study from MIT that says giving your kids dance instruction is going to help them do algebra better, he said. But you want to give that kid dance instruction and you will be thrilled that the kid wants to do the dance instruction and that will make you happy. So parents out there, please randomly assign your kids to extracurricular activities. Right? So you see, when after knowing all this, right? Okay, there was this research that was written in a book by Robert Eisenberger, okay, in Houston University. He says he ran dozens of studies in which rats are randomly assigned to do something hard, okay, or to do something easy, all right, to get the same reward, all right. Then after that, he gives all of them a difficult task, okay, and they found the same results. The rats who were required to do things, wait, who were
No, I
required to do
think
harder things, okay,
different group. Mm.
will work harder and longer on the second task. Alright? I think that is a very important point uh, to tell parents, and not just parents, anybody who's a leader, right? Anybody who's leading themselves, anybody who's trying to improve themselves, okay? To actually randomly assign extracurricular activities to yourself. First of all, you never know which one you will like. For example, you may not like algebra, but you will like dancing. I don't know. Alright? Maybe like in the case of Atika, she never knew that she was gonna like running, right? Now she found out that she likes running, right? So guys out there, if you find yourself in a rut, go register for running with Atika, you know.
Let's go.
You go to this website www.atikaruns.com, right? That is such an old joke. Oh my god, that's so 1990s. Yeah, so
90s knocking the door. I want my jokes back, please.
you want your jokes back, right? So I think randomly assigning this kind of extracurricular activities to ourselves is a way to sort of like build our grittiness, which can later then translate to other forms of work. Too bad Ray is not here. Otherwise we will be able to discuss this with her as she is trying to increase her grittiness, right? So yeah, so that she can actually like build more grittiness in a different area. and the one. And then we come to this.
Wondering how her
Yeah.
I'm wondering how her dance going on right now.
Yeah, I also want to know how's her dance coming along. So with this experiment, right? Okay. Bob also had the opportunity to do real life. How to say?
Experiment.
Human trials.
Was it Bob or was it Angela actually?
Bob was the one
Oh,
who
Bob.
did
Okay.
it. So the Bob did the same experiment where he give kids, right, easy tasks, and then
Hmm?
he gave another set of kids more difficult tasks, okay, and gave them the same kind of reward. And then after that, right, when they were trying to do a difficult task, okay, the guys who were trained on the difficult task, they work harder to finish the same task. So what does this lead to? Bob says this means that industriousness can be learned, right?
Industriousness.
Meaning we can learn how to be hardworking. We can learn how to do things better. We can learn. In fact, we can learn a lot of things. You know, you can learn grit. You can learn everything. Ha!
Is that I like the line with practice you learn industriousness.
Yes, learned
It's not like with
industriousness.
practice
With
learn it.
practice, you get learned industriousness. I really
Mm.
like this thing. Well, what do you think of this learned industriousness, and how do you think it helps people in general in real life?
I see learned industriousness is another word of greed actually. Because all of this like end up like it has a similar notes to greed, because how to say this, the greed you tend to do to how to say this, to focus yourself doing hard things. You may not know it's actually a hard things, but with in learned industriousness, you know it's actually a hard things. So it's like, it's similar. No, I'm just gonna say it's actually the same.
So you
Just
think
another
that
fancy.
learned industriousness is the same as grit?
Yeah, it's like follow through also. It's almost the same. Follow through, learned industriousness. It's all the same thing. Because Angela was like, "Oh, this is similar to grit. How can I apply this to my studies?" So yeah.
So I have a slightly different opinion from you. I think. I think that
Okay.
grit is grit, and then learned industriousness is this ability to do a lot of things
Ah.
in a short time. Hello, Kikozaki. What is this about?
Hello.
We are talking about Grit by Angela Duckworth. Yeah, so we are referring to the book by Angela Duckworth. So when we talk about learned industriousness, right?
Hmm?
Uh, it is oh, sorry, I'm typing up the chat.
Oh.
The book Grit by Angela Duckworth. Yeah, there we go. So
Hello,
learned
Kikozaki.
industriousness is something where I feel right.
Hmm?
Um, if we look at the Japanese people, the way they work, okay, they will always try to fit as much as they can do in a certain set of time frame. That, in my opinion, is
Mm.
industriousness. Okay, the
Ah,
ability
okay.
to do a lot of things, not to say a lot of things, but to do things and make the most out of your time. It's like that last two sentences of If, the poem by Rudyard Kipling, right? The last two
Ah.
sentences say that um, if you can fill the minute, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with a minute of distance, uh, distance walked, I think, right? Then uh, all the world and whatever is in it will be yours, and much more than that, you will be a man, my son, right? So I think that being industrious is to be able to built, with a lot of things in a time frame, right? To fulfill all these things in a certain particular time frame. So I think that is industriousness. And I don't think everybody has industriousness, because just walk down the street of KL, right? and you'll see tons of people just lazing around, loitering around, just doing nothing, right? I mean, like, oh god, no.
The podcast is that is high.
Right. And it's been like that for years. And if you compare that to like Hong Kong, or you compare that like to Taiwan or Japan, right? You don't see that happening in these countries. Now, they may not work as hard as the people in Japan. The Japanese can sometimes be crazy, right? But at least they are being industrious. They are getting up. They are not sitting down. They are working. They're moving. They're doing things. They are moving things around, right? So I think that is what learned industriousness means, and I think it's really powerful that Angela actually says that we can learn how to be industrious, right? I like the example that was given about the rats. Where is the rats example?
Pages before this.
Oh, okay. It's the page before this. Da-da.
You going up. Up, no, not going down a bit. No, down.
Down, down.
Sorry. You missed it actually.
I missed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that I missed it.
No, it's. How to say this?
There we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the one of Bob's experiments, right? Where he fed the rats in two different ways. One of them, he used wire mesh hoppers that's filled with food. So the rats actually had to bite the food through the small opening. And then the other one is just they just just put all the food all over the place, and then the rats just run around to eat them. Okay. And what he found was that those that eat their food had to work to eat their food. They actually are better at completing difficult tasks or detailed tasks compared to the group of rats that just got their food everywhere. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're trying to train your kids to become grittier, make them work for their food, right?
Ooh. As
We are so
evidenced by
bad.
the experiments.
We are so bad.
No, instead of food, give them rewards like money, man.
Yeah, we can give them rewards and stuff, right? But I like what Angela Duckworth did to her kids, right? So Angela Duckworth had this the hard thing rule. Wow.
Okay. I like these hard things actually.
Yeah, so you want to talk about it?
It's basically like every family members has their own hard thing rule. And they decide it themselves, not people decide it for them. I think the best example is her daughter Amanda. She actually tried a lot of things. She tried ballet, she tried piano, she tried wait, was it Amanda or Lucy? I cannot remember. But one of the kids tried a lot of things, and she ended up, for the case of Amanda, she ended up choosing piano. For Lucy, she actually tried, I think she tried a lot, if I am not mistaken. Let me double check again.
Lucy is the one that went through a lot of stuff.
Lucy,
you wanna
Lucy.
explain to some of us what the hard thing is first, because I think we've got Kikozaki in the chat, so I think he's probably not read it yet, so, or she has not read it yet, so.
Okay, hard thing is basically a thing that I don't think I can wait. Let me try this, okay? A hard thing is basically something that requires daily practice, For example, for me it's running, because I need to run not saying almost every day, but every 2 days, right? So it can be running, it can be, calligraphy, it can be anything. Reading also one of the hard things. Okay. For family. And then another thing is, um, you can quit, but you cannot quit until the season is over, or until something happened. Feel like it's taking a lot of toll to your body. For example, like last time, like running. If I find running actually harms my body, I will quit. Something like that along the way. So you can quit, but you cannot quit on a bad day. For example, one day I feel like, I terpijak lopak air when I'm running. I cannot quit running. Okay, that does not. Is not. How you say, one of the criteria to quit. And the last thing, the hard thing rule states that you get to pick your own hard thing. Okay, not anyone else to pick for me. Let's say Kenji wants to pick hard thing for me, I'll be like, no, I choose my hard thing. Okay. Um. Yeah. So that's the three criteria of hard thing. Hard thing is
And
do
that's good.
daily practice. Yeah. Second is you can quit. Third is you pick your own hard thing. For Angela's, yeah, I think that's the summary of the hard thing.
Yay! Atika
Okay. Yay.
managed to lead out the hard thing rule. No, I think that was good.
Thank you
That
for
was
that.
good. That was a good breakdown of the hard thing, right? So give us an example of what you think is good from the hard thing. You like it a lot, so yeah, come on.
Hard thing. I think okay. For example, a hard thing right now is my fitness. Okay. Right now it's categorized into running, and then we are doing Spartan challenge and a lot of things. And the best thing about hard thing is I have to practice every day because I eventually want to get better at my fitness. So my goal for end of this year is to run the 21 km marathon. It's actually a big goal because I never attempt more than 10 km running ever. So 21 km is actually like my biggest goal. And I have to practice daily for that. Second, it's something that I choose. It's not someone choose it for me. Because like I said, I actually do not like fitness in the very beginning. But eventually I find it interesting, because I get to be fitter, I get to be, you know, less sick because I used to get sick a lot. And I sort of like it's calmed down my mental health because being cooped up in during MCO really takes a toll on my mental something. So yeah. And the third thing is wait. Yeah, I choose it myself. I can practice. Yeah, and then I can quit. That's I think it. But when you quit, you don't quit it because you say like I don't want to quit because I too lazy. You need to have like a proper excuse why you want to quit.
Yep, yep.
And it's actually something that I've been trying. Because hard thing, you can change actually whatever you want. For example, like in this case, Angela's daughter named Lucy, right? She actually tried a lot of things. She tried ballet, she tried gymnastics, she tried handicraft. She ended up on viola. Oh, it's not violin, it's viola or some more.
So similar, different size. Yeah.
Yeah, similar. Viola is a bit bigger. Yeah, there's like a joke. If you guys like to watch two set violins, they keep on making jokes about viola and violin. But yeah, but yeah, and she ended up joining the all city orchestra. It's something that, to me, like it's her biggest achievement ever. So yeah, I am hoping that my running towards the end of the year, will, I can manage to hit that 21 km. It's like my biggest goal this year ever.
Well, that sounds like a good goal, right?
Mm.
At least to me, it sounds like a good goal. I think if you actually manage to pull through, the fourth rule for the hard thing should apply.
There's a fourth rule.
Yeah. So the fourth rule of the hard thing at the end of the book,
Oh.
at the end of the chapter, she says the fourth requirement will be added. Each girl must commit to at least one activity for at least 2 years.
Oh.
So I'm like,
oh wait.
yeah, this hard thing, I agree that this is good because, like for me, I think the hard thing should be my workout because I naturally don't do workouts. I actually hate workouts. right? My fitness has always been my weakest point. Like, give me a book to read any day, man. I'd rather be stuck reading a book than you know. But yeah, that's why I registered for the 21K, and also we started doing the Spartan challenge. It's all because we want to do a hard thing, right? And the good thing is the Spartan challenge ends in 30 days. So whether we like it or don't like it, it's just 30 days, that kind of thing. So I think it's a good way to start a healthy habit and slowly build up for the rest of it. Okay, we have reached the end of our chapter. Wow, yay! Next chapter is chapter 12, A Culture of Grit. So next week, okay, we will bring you to the culture of grit. So before we end, what are your concluding thoughts? We've got a couple of minutes. So Tika, what do you learn today?
Concluding. Finding your heart thing.
Finding your heart thing. Hey, I like that. I like that. For me,
Yeah.
what I learned today was that grit can be interchangeable. And that we need to find that middle ground of interesting and challenging.
Challenging.
I think as a team leader, or as someone who is leading myself, I need to find that middle ground between interesting and challenging, to make sure that what I'm doing is both interesting to me and challenging to me as well. So, all right, thank you guys. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. I hope you guys had fun, and we'll see you next week for chapter 12. Yay!
Yay!
Hopefully, the culture of grit, we will have Ray to join us again.
Yeah.
Alright? Okay, I'm gonna end the stream now. So,
Alright.
thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Coming.
I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Hey, bye bye.